Hi everyone, welcome to Stamp the Night Away, and today we are going to make this wonderful, beautiful step card. So if you notice, there are different layers to this card, and we are using the Daisy Lane stamp set today. Beautiful stamp set, love it. We even carry the coordinating punches so you can punch out the little daisy and the big daisy. Now, there is going to be a lot of measurements that go into this card, but don't worry, I did them all for you. They are in the description bar below, along with a link to all the supplies. So if there's anything that you want from this video, just go into the description below. You will see a link to my blog, which will have a tutorial on this video on how to do this card. It will have the video. It will have all the supplies I used and links to those supplies. So you just have to click on the supply item. So the stamp set, the inks, the grid paper, the cardstock. If you just click on it, it'll take you directly to that item in my online store. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video so you don't miss any of my other card projects. All right, let's get started. There is a lot that goes into this card, but again, I did it all for you. So we are going to start with the card base. So this is a piece of 8.5 and 11.5 and scored in half. And we are going to be doing this today all on our trimmer board. Now, it gets a little complicated, but again, I did all the measurements for you. So I'm going to turn my cutting board around backwards, so not the normal way I use it. I'm going to show you here. I made little marks on my Stampin' trimmer using one of our Stampin' Right markers. It wipes right off. It's not going to have a permanent mark on your board. So it's great for this project. So I just made a little mark at 1 inch and a mark at 6 3/8. So what we are going to do first is we are going to line and we are going to put it at 1 inch. Sorry, I'm going to move some stuff out of my way here. Oh, I totally forgot. We need it backwards. All right, and why I'm doing this backwards, again, so on the cutting blades here, you'll see there's a little line, and I want to be able to see that so I can line it up with my black mark that I made on my cutting board. You see that? So it's easier for me to see that if I flip it around backwards, because on the front there's no ruler. So we are going to put our piece of cardstock at 1 inch. Okay. Then we're going to put our cutting blade at 1 inch and then put our ruler back down. Now I'm going to press the cutting blade down and I'm going to bring it to my other black mark at 6 3/8. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just making sure I'm doing this right before I cut. And I am not. I'm going to lift that back up. It made a little teeny mark where I put it in, but that's okay. We're going to cover that up. All right, I actually don't need it at 1 inch. I need it at 1 and 13/16. I'm just looking at my notes over to the side. All right, 1 inch and 13/16. So 1.5 is 8/16. So I'm just going to count them out. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is 3/4. 13. So 1/16. So one little line past 1 3/4. All right, this again. All right, put my cutting blade at 1 inch. Press down and bring it to 6 3/8. Okay, and then lift up. Next, so you'll see there is a cutting line right there. So next I am going to move my paper to 3 11/16. So 3 1/2 is 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're 1 line short of the 3/4 mark. All right, I'm going to leave my blade at 6 3/8. Put that down. And then I am going to move it to the 1 inch mark. So putting those black lines on ahead of time really helps out. All right, so now we are done with cutting, but now we have to score. So I'm going to flip my board back around. All right, and we're just going to be scoring between the lines because I already scored all the way across at 4 1/4. So we are going to start scoring at 1 inch. Now you're only scoring between the 2 lines. So you have a little line on the front of your scoring board or your scoring blade. I am going to line that up. So there's one on the front and there's one on the back. I'm lining it up with my cut line. I'm going to press down and score over to my other cut line. See if I can show you that. All right, you see that score line? All right, so then we're going to do that a few more times. We're going to score then at 2 inches. And again, just between those 2 lines that we cut earlier. Okay. 3 1/8 inches. 4 1/4, which we already did. That's the line that goes all the way across. Okay, and then we're going to score at 6 3/8. So I'm going to open up my arm here. Now, you can't really see where 3/8 is, but it's right at the edge of the gray. Or it's going to be right where your lines ended, is where we are going to then score. All right, the complicated part is done. There's still a lot of measurements that I have to share with you, but we are done with our scoring board. All right, so next we're going to take the front and we are going to fold down on the first score line, up on the second. So we have mountain, valley, mountain, and then valley, and then mountain. See that? All right, I'm just gonna burnish all of these a few times. And this is what our card base looks like. So I'll show you this from the top. You kind of have a little bit of a stair step, and I'll show you it from the bottom as well. See? All right. So next we are going to do our stamping. So on the stamping pieces, we have 1 piece of Whisper White that measures 4 1/8 by 1 3/4. This is our center white piece. So we are going to stamp our flower in the Melon Mambo ink, which is the card base. This is Melon Mambo is what we're using. So I'm going to ink up our flower, and I'm going to stamp that towards the top. Okay, clean off my stamp. And then next we are going to stamp our stem in Granny Apple Green. So we're just going to line the top of our stamp up with the bottom of our flower. Just going to grab a piece of scrap here. It's going to go off the paper a little. Okay, there's our stem. Clean that one off. All right, so I'm going to set that one aside. Our next pieces that we need, just make sure I grab the right ones. All right, these are going to be let's see. I lost where I was. This one is actually not 4 1/8 by 3 3/4. This one is 4 inches by 5/8, 1 5/8. These two are 4 inches by 1 9/16. So the way this works out is each piece is 1/8 inch shorter and narrower than our border. So the gray is going to be 1/8 narrower and shorter, and then the white is 1/8 shorter and narrower than the gray. So again, don't worry about writing any of this down. It is all in the description below, and it is also listed out on my blog in a full tutorial. All right, so on these two pieces, we are going to stamp our leaf, our fern leaf. So I'm going to do that in Granny Apple Green. Kind of put it towards the top a little bit, and then centered. Okay, and do that one more time. Remember, if you always mess up, there's always the back side. All right, center that one. All right, so there's those two pieces stamped. Our next two stamping pieces are our greetings. And we are going to be doing those in Melon Mambo. So I'm going to put our Granny Apple Green away. So I have two pieces of Whisper White. One of them measures 1 5/8 by 3/4 of an inch, and the other one is 1 5/8 by 1 7/8. So we'll do the little one first and line it up on my grid paper, and we're going to stamp Smile right in the middle of that one. There we go. Clean that one off. And our next one is the best moments in life happen with you. All right. Now, this one you want the long way. Hold on. I'm making sure I'm around. Nope. The tall way is the way you want to stamp it. Got to make sure I have it the right way around. You want it stamped the tall way. So you want 1 7/8 down and 1 5/8 across. And we are going to stamp at the top of this. Like that. And you will see why in a minute, or I can show you. So when you close your card, that bottom part is covered up, which is why you stamp it towards the top of your white piece of paper. All right, that's all of our stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and close up our ink. And now we get to assemble. All right, so our whites are going to go on our grays. So we have some Stampin' Seal. And like I said, the grays are going to be 1/8 taller and wider than our whites. So if this one is 1 5/8 by 3/4, then our gray piece is 1 inch Nope, I said that wrong. Anyway, all the measurements are down below. I'm trying to look at, okay, it's 1 3/4 by 7/8 is the gray piece. So again, all the measurements are down below and they are all listed on my blog. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video and share it with all your friends, and so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And always comment below. Let me know what I can improve on, what you like. Share cards that you've done. I always like to see what people have done. All right, so next, I'm going to put our flower on. And you want to make sure you don't get these ones mixed up. So these three all look the same, right? They're not. One of them is slightly wider than the other two. See that? So the wider one goes to your flower. And the narrower two will go on your leaves. Okay. Now, before we do the leaves, we're going to put some twine along the bottom. So this is our linen thread. So I'm going to stick a glue dot on one end. I'm going to stick that on the back of my piece. And then I'm going to wrap my linen thread around and then stick it to that same glue dot on the back and cut it off. We're going to do that the same to the other one. Stick a glue dot on the end of the thread. And that's just to hold it in place. Stick that on the back of our card and wrap it around. And then stick it down and cut off the extra. All right, so then we are going to put some seal along here and on this one. And then those go on